Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're plunging into, well, a really critical part of the business world, one that's often unseen, the competitor analysis evaluation market. Think of it as like the strategic heartbeat for businesses everywhere. Staying ahead isn't just nice, it's essential.
Absolutely.
So our mission today is to unpack these, frankly, incredible revenue trends, look at future projections, the growth rates, all globally. And we've got solid data, right, from 2021 looking all the way out to 2033.
That's right, solid data.
It's really about understanding how this sector shapes strategy, innovation, competition worldwide.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is just the sheer scale, the trajectory of this market's expansion. I mean, globally, the competitor analysis evaluation market, it was valued at what? An impressive $4.3 billion back in 2021?
Okay, 4.3 billion.
Yeah. And looking ahead, it's projected to surge past $6.6 billion by 2025.
Wow.
And then, quite dramatically, to over $15.4 billion by 2033.
15 billion.
It's a huge leap. That means a robust compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of about 11.2% over this whole forecast period.
Right.
And what this tells us, I mean, beyond just the impressive numbers, is there's this clear escalating global demand, a need for sharper competitive intelligence for these sophisticated strategic planning tools. Especially now, with our economy being so interconnected.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so it's not just about market size. It reflects this fundamental, evolving need for businesses to really understand, predict, and, well, influence their competitive landscape. We're talking everything from AI platforms tracking market share pricing to consulting firms, niche data providers. It's the whole toolkit.
Gotcha. Okay, let's maybe unpack this region by region then. Starting with North America, it's always been a powerhouse here.
Definitely.
In 2021, revenues were just under $1.5 billion, right?
Just about, yeah. $1.49 billion.
And it's a decline. Over $2.2 billion by 2025, reaching a massive $5.1 billion by 2033.
That's the projection.
Which translates to a pretty solid CAGR, nearly 10.8% for the whole region. So what dynamics are we seeing within North America, like the individual countries?
Right. So within North America, no surprise, the United States is the largest player. Predictably, its revenue was around $1.3 billion in 2021, projected to hit over $4.3 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of about 10.5%. Pretty steady.
Okay.
But here's where it gets kind of interesting. Canada. It's showing notably high growth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Started just over $140 million in 2021, but it's forecasted to surge to over $630 million by 2033. That gives it a standout CAGR of nearly 13.3%.
13.3. Wow, that is high for North America.
It is. It really suggests, a highly competitive, maybe more digitally mature business environment there. Companies are aggressively investing in this stuff. And Mexico also shows healthy expansion. About $39 million in 2021, growing to over $107 million by 2033. That's an 8.3% CAGR. Solid, but not like Canada.
That Canadian acceleration is definitely something. Okay, shifting gears. Let's look across the Atlantic, Europe.
Right.
Also a significant contribution, obviously, maybe more mature landscape,
Yeah.
but still seeing robust investments.
Yeah.
Especially with, regulations, multinational complexities.
Indeed. Europe as a whole, they recorded about $1.28 billion in 2021, expected to hit over $4.3 billion by 2033. So that's expanding at a CAGR of nearly 10.7%, very close to North America's overall rate.
Okay.
And within Europe, you see diverse growth stories. The UK, for instance, around $163 million in 21, projected over $505 million by 33. That's almost a 9.9% CAGR.
Nearly 10%.
Germany, a key market, growing from about $241 million to nearly $800 million, a 10.5% CAGR. France is also robust.
Yeah.
$188 million up to nearly $650 million. That's a 10.9%.
Higher than Germany or France.
Yeah, just a bit. Revenues going from $138 million to nearly $500 million.
Yeah.
Russia also shows strong momentum. A leap from $128 million to over $480 million. That's an 11.7% CAGR. In Spain, too, about $98 million up to $367 million, 11.6% CAGR. Sweden, a bit smaller market, still growing respectably at 10.1% CAGR. $78 million to $246 million.
And it's not just those bigger names, right? I saw numbers for Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg. They're also showing really strong growth.
Exactly.
Double-digit CAGRs or close to it. Like Switzerland, projected to more than triple its market size from 2021 to 2033.
Right. It shows a widespread commitment across the continent, big economies and smaller ones.
Okay, so let's move over to Asia Pacific. You flag this as a dynamic growth hub.
Oh, definitely. And for good reason. It posted just under $1 billion in 2021.
Right.
Forecasted to reach nearly $3.8 billion by 2033. Now, that shows a remarkable overall CAGR of over 12%.
12%, so higher than North America or Europe.
Notably higher, yes.
What's driving that? What's fueling such explosive demand for competitive analysis over there?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. You've got rapid digitization happening across the board, a booming startup ecosystem in many countries, and just fierce domestic competition.
Right. China's a major contributor, obviously. Growing from $292 million in 21 to over $1.1 billion by 33, that's an 11.8% CAGR.
Okay.
Japan follows, robust expansion too. $186 million, up to nearly $680 million. That's 11.4%. Sure. But, connecting this back, if we look at the growth rate, India really takes the lead.
India.
Yes. Starting at $152 million in 2021, it's projected to hit over $730 million by 2033. That means a staggering CAGR of nearly 14%.
14%? Wow, that's the highest we've seen so far, isn't it?
By a noticeable margin.
Yeah.
This isn't just growth. It really speaks to that explosion of digital-first businesses, intense domestic competition. Understanding your market edge is just paramount. Survival, almost.
Incredible number for India. And you're saying the momentum continues elsewhere in APAC, too.
Absolutely.
Like Australia, Singapore, they were also showing very strong figures.
Yeah, Australia and Singapore both with CGRs well over 12.5%. It indicates this broad region-wide strategic shift towards competitive intelligence. It's not isolated? Okay, got it. So South America next. Another region you flagged for robust expansion.
That's right. The market there climbed from $220 million in 2021 to a projected nearly $890 million in 2033. That's a 12.3% CAGR. So again, higher than the global average, higher than North America or Europe.
Interesting. And Brazil leads the charge there.
Yes. Brazil went from almost $97 million in 21 to over $385 million projected for 33. That's a 12.2% CAGR.
Okay. And beyond Brazil? Any unique stories or challenges in the other South American markets?
Well, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, they're all showing strong growth as well. KGRs generally ranging between, say, 11.8% and almost 13%, so very healthy.
Right.
The overall trend just suggests that businesses there are increasingly recognizing the need for this kind of analysis, especially as their economies integrate more globally.
Makes sense. Okay, next up, the Middle East, a region undergoing significant transformation. And seeing rapid growth here, too.
Very much so. Their revenue expanded from about $185 million in 2021 to an estimated $725 million by 2033. That represents a CAGR of over 12%, another strong performer.
12% again, and within the Middle East.
Saudi Arabia is a key player, growing from $56 million to over $216 million. That's an 11.9% CAGR.
Okay.
But the UAE really stands out. Exceptional growth from $30 million to over $132 million by 2033.
And the CAGR there?
Very high, nearly 13.2%.
Wow, another 13+%er.
Exactly. It indicates really rapid adoption of these tools, probably driven by those ambitious diversification strategies, the drive to become a global innovation hub.
Yeah, that fits. And it's consistent across the board there, too. Turkey, Egypt, Qatar.
Yes, all recording impressive CAGRs, definitely above 10%. Rest of Middle East as well. It seems pretty clear the region is investing heavily in strategic foresight.
Okay. Finally then, Africa. How does it fit into this picture?
Africa shows consistent, healthy growth in this market. Not quite the explosive rates of APAC or Middle East, but solid. The region's market climbed from about $177 million in 2021, projected over $600 million by 2033. That works out to a CAGR of 10.6%. Still very respectable.
10.6, okay. And which countries are driving that growth? What's fueling their needs?
Well, Nigeria, being the largest economy on the continent, expanded from about $84 million in 21 to over $275 million projected by 33. That's growing at a 10.2% CAGR, likely reflects, its burgeoning digital economy, increasing competition within that large consumer market.
Right.
South Africa also shows strong momentum, an 11.1% CAGR there. suggests a mature but still evolving competitive landscape.
Okay.
And the rest of Africa category is consistently growing too, from just under $30 million to over $98 million. That's a 10.3% CAGR. It shows a broad kind of foundational uptake of these tools across various emerging markets on the continent.
Okay. So we've gone around the globe, incredible numbers, really, after this amazing deep dive into all these regions. What does it all mean for someone like, you listening, trying to navigate this landscape? What's the bigger picture beyond the figures?
Well, if you connect all those dots, all those numbers we just went through, it's undeniably clear, isn't it? The competitor analysis evaluation market is just on this remarkably strong upward trajectory everywhere. All major global regions.
Yeah, the consistency is striking.
It really is. And
Yeah.
this robust, widespread expansion, it's fundamentally driven by that ever-increasing demand. Need for competitive intelligence, for advanced digital analytics, for these sophisticated strategic planning tools.
Right.
And as the global economy just keeps getting more interconnected, more intensely competitive, well, the need for these precise market evaluation platforms, it's only going to surge further. Think about a startup, right? Trying to launch something new in a crowded space.
Mhm.
Or an established giant trying to keep its lead. These competitive insights, they're not a nice to have anymore. They're essential groundwork.
Foundational.
Exactly, foundational, which really positions this whole sector as a critical component of, like, the business intelligence infrastructure worldwide.
Yeah.
It's essential for any business aiming not just to stay competitive, but actually get ahead, stay ahead.
What an incredible deep dive. A vital, rapidly growing market indeed. It's so clear. The competitor analysis evaluation isn't just expanding. It's becoming, like you said, indispensable for businesses globally. From those established players in North America to the really explosive growth we saw in India and the UAE.
Mm-hmm.
Being well informed about these trends, it really can give you an edge in today's landscape. So maybe a final thought for you, the listener. Given the surge in market evaluation tools and this increasing global competition,
Mm-hmm.
how might you rethink the role of competitor analysis?
Yeah.
Not just defensively, keeping tabs, but maybe as a proactive engine for innovation, for uncovering new opportunities in your own field, your own interests.
Good question.
Something to think about until our next deep dive.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental. How do you actually stay ahead when competition is just, well, relentless, and data's coming at you faster than ever? The whole business landscape is shifting, and understanding those changes, those sort of seismic shifts, isn't just nice. It feels essential now, for survival, really. So our deep dive today is into what's called the competitor analysis evaluation market. Now, this isn't some tiny niche. It's actually booming. And it's booming precisely because, fierce competition, tons of data, and making sharp strategic decisions, they're all getting tangled up together. Our mission here is to cut through all that noise. We want to pull out the most important nuggets from our sources, give you a really clear picture of the big forces shaping this market. We'll look at what's driving its growth, the challenges or restraints it's bumping up against, and also the kind of exciting future trends that are genuinely redefining how businesses compete. Think of this as your shortcut to getting up to speed on a really critical piece of modern strategy.
So let's jump in. Okay, let's start with what's really pushing this competitor analysis evaluation market forward. Our sources point to a few key things. First off, and this probably isn't a huge surprise, there's just way more market competition across almost every industry. Companies today, they just can't operate in their own little bubble, right? They've got to constantly watch their rivals. We're talking everything from pricing, new products, marketing campaigns, even, subtle shifts in their branding.
Right. And what's really powerful about these tools, the analysis tools, is how they give businesses that agility, the ability to respond proactively, not always just reacting after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Being proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. Think about fast-moving sectors, tech, retail, finance, consumer goods. Things change so quickly there. In those places, having insights that help you maybe anticipate a competitor's move, that can be the difference between leading the pack and constantly playing catch-up.
So it lets you pivot faster, maybe adjust your own pricing or launch something to counter them.
Precisely. Before they even make their big announcements sometimes.
Okay, that immediate informed response sounds crucial. And it links straight into something else we're seeing everywhere, this growing reliance on data, hard data-driving decisions. Organizations seem to be really leaning into these sophisticated competitor intelligence platforms.
Oh, absolutely. And the practical benefits, they're huge. These platforms are like a gold mine for insights. They don't just report what happened yesterday. They help deliver vital benchmark data, detailed SWOT analyses.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. That classic framework.
That's the one. Give you that structured view of where you stand. Plus, you get performance evaluations of the key players. All this allows leadership to make smarter decisions, ones based on actual evidence, real-time data, not just gut feelings.
So it's about aligning strategy with what the data is actually showing.
Exactly. And some use really advanced stuff like natural language processing, NLP. They can sift through thousands of customer reviews about a competitor's product, for instance. Spot a weakness you'd maybe never find otherwise.
And speaking of real time, that brings us to the third big driver. This sort of insatiable demand for instant analytics, continuous benchmarking, because like you said, the competitive landscape can shift overnight. So having immediate, accurate insights isn't just a nice to have.
No, it's becoming absolutely essential. It's all about speed and relevance.
What kind of insights,
Yeah.
specifically?
Well, think about real-time benchmarking tools. They let companies monitor what's happening in the market now, react to competitor moves almost instantly, assess how their own campaigns are doing, and spot emerging threats or opportunities right away. People want instant alerts, you know?
Like, heads up, competitor X just slashed prices.
Exactly. Competitor X dropped their flagship price by 15%. Or there's a new social media trend blowing up that's hitting our rival's brand image. It's about getting that context, that warning, right when it matters most. It's almost like an early warning system for your business strategy.
Okay, so there's definitely momentum. But like any market that's growing fast, this competitor analysis evaluation space, it has its challenges too, right? It's not all easy. The first big hurdle our sources mention is cost. The high cost of the really advanced tools and services. This hits smaller businesses, startups, particularly hard.
Yeah, that cost difference definitely creates a divide, a real competitive gap. You've got these enterprise-level solutions offering, well, everything automation, super detailed custom reports, API integrations, pretty much. But they come with these price tags that are just, frankly, out of reach for a lot of smaller companies.
So what do they do?
Well, often they end up using basic tools, maybe even free ones, which, are better than nothing, but they often lack the depth. They might not scale well or have the sophisticated analytics you need to truly keep up with the big players who can afford the best stuff.
So it kind of reinforces the advantage of the larger incumbents.
It can, yeah. The big fish can sometimes get bigger faster, partly because they have better intel.
That cost barrier is clear. Now, the second restraint gets into something trickier. Data privacy and ethical boundaries. Companies hunting for competitor intelligence, they need to be careful, right? Tread lightly.
Very carefully. And this really plugs into the wider discussion about, responsible data use, data governance.
Yeah.
Businesses absolutely must avoid crossing legal lines. They can't violate data protection rules like GDPR in Europe, for instance.
Right, the General Data Protection Regulation. Huge implications there.
Huge. So there's this fine line, this crucial balance between staying informed, which you need to do, and, well, overstepping. Using practices that could be seen as invasive or even illegal. It's about making sure everything you do to collect data, to monitor things, stays firmly within those legal and ethical frameworks.
And maybe even the spirit of the law, not just the letter.
Increasingly, yes, that's becoming more important to customers and regulators alike.
Okay, and the third restraint is something I think many of us feel in different parts of our lives. Just the sheer amount of data overload.
Yes, data overload. It's a real challenge. Here's the problem. Without really good filtering, without strong analytical capabilities, organizations can easily misinterpret the signals. It's like trying to hear one specific conversation in a massive, noisy crowd. You might focus on the wrong thing.
Drawing conclusions from just noise.
Exactly. Noise, not substance. And when that happens, your competitor analysis can actually become reactive again, or worse. It could lead you to make misguided decisions that actually hurt your long-term goals.
So the tools need to not just collect data, but make sense of it.
Precisely. The really advanced solutions, they're not just filtering, they're synthesizing. They're pulling together different data points to show you competitive stories you wouldn't have seen otherwise, turning that cacophony, as you said, into something meaningful.
Okay, so despite those hurdles, cost, ethics, overload, the market's still evolving incredibly fast. And this is where it gets really interesting, looking at the trends. First up, something huge. The integration of AI, artificial intelligence, and predictive analytics into these tools, that feels like a game changer.
Oh, it absolutely is. AI algorithms are transforming this space. They can chew through massive data sets to spot really subtle trends, identify patterns humans might miss, and even start to forecast potential competitor actions.
Forecasts like what they might do next.
Yeah. like predicting a potential product launch or a big pricing change or maybe a shift in how they're trying to acquire customers. These predictive capabilities mean companies can prepare smarter strategies. They can even simulate different future market scenarios with a lot more confidence than before.
Wow. So it's not just looking back, it's looking forward.
It's looking forward, and it's also about understanding the why behind the patterns AI finds, those causal relationships. Understanding those helps you build a more resilient strategy overall.
That deeper insight sounds incredibly valuable. Okay, second trend, the rise of social media and web intelligence. Using those as powerful sources for competitive insight.
It's amazing how much useful information is just out there, publicly available, if you know how to look. So yeah, organizations are increasingly using social listening tools. They're analyzing influencers, digging into customer reviews on retail sites, even looking closely at competitor ads.
And not just reacting to that stuff.
No, they're using it proactively to inform their own branding, their content strategy, product development. It's a kind of passive intelligence. It allows companies to pick up on these subtle shifts, changes in customer feelings, how a product is really being received, whether a marketing campaign is actually working. And often, you pick this stuff up before the hard sales numbers even come in. You might spot a trend your competitor's totally missing.
Interesting. Okay, and the third trend you mentioned points towards competitive intelligence features becoming just like standard, embedded right into the business platforms people use every day.
Exactly. This is a huge deal for just making things work better, for workflow efficiency. Think about your sales platform, your CRM system, your marketing automation tools. More and more, they're building competitor tracking functions right in.
So the info is right there when you need it.
Right there. It means your frontline team, sales folks, marketers, they get real-time insights while they're doing their jobs, while they're setting prices, writing sales pitches, talking to customers.
Intelligence on tap, basically.
That's a good way to put it. And this seamless integration means companies can actually act on the intelligence much faster. It doesn't just sit in a report somewhere. It dramatically improves agility and makes sure that intelligence gathering leads to actual timely action. So, when you pull all these pieces together, the drivers, the restraints, the trends, a pretty clear picture emerges. The competitor analysis evaluation market is definitely expanding and fast. It's being shaped by, well, both necessity, you have to do this now, and by a constant innovation. As competition keeps getting tougher and data becomes, yes, more abundant, but also more actionable, the demand for smarter, faster, and importantly, ethically sound tools, that's just going to keep climbing.
Which means, for any organization listening, if you're aiming to stay not just in the game, but really ahead of the game, investing thoughtfully in competitor intelligence isn't really optional anymore, is it? It feels like a core strategic imperative now. So maybe a final thought for you to consider based on everything we've talked about. How might you need to rethink your own approach? Your approach to understanding and reacting to your competitive landscape? Are you set up to be proactive, to anticipate, or are you still mostly reacting in this incredibly fast-changing world?